Thanks for coming back for another interview with a blacksmith. Today we have Jim from the Crazy Viking Forge. So, how are you doing today?
I'm still upright. I'm still on the proper side of the lawn, so it's a good day.
Right on. Us too. So, what sparked your interest in blacksmithing?
Well, that goes back a ways. If you really want to get to the heart of the matter, I'm an 80s kid. And really, it comes down to I saw the movie Conan, the original way back in the day, and the opening scene with father and son in the forge, which, granted, there is nothing realistic about what they are doing to what we're doing, but
yeah,
that I just went, wow, oh my God, that is so cool. And from that point on, it hit in the brain and it stuck. And man, there are so many things I could go into on how that whole situation evolved, but that's where it started.
I love that so much. Just say that. I love that so much. That is so cool.
Funny part about the whole thing is when that movie came out and I saw it, I think it came out in about 82.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm still a pretty little kid. I think I was about 6. I would have been about 6 when it came out. I was probably about 6 or 7 when I saw it. And at the time, my dad was a machinist, and he'd done all kinds of metal work. And so I see this movie, and I'm in awe. I'm like, Dad, can we make a sword? Well, we can make a knife. Because, he'd made knives and stuff before. I'm like, awesome. God, that sounds cool. Let's do it. And so he grabs a piece of steel and he grinds out a blade and this and that. And I was deflated. It just took everything out of me. I'm like, where's all the fire? Where's all the cool stuff? Where's the hammer? Where's the anvil? Where's all the sparks? Come on, what's up with this? And I think that was, if I really want to get back to the roots of it, that was kind of the heart of the matter. I'm like, man, I need to see what this is really about. This is cool. And, it just kind of evolved from there.
Yeah, you want all those sparks and stuff, like, make a lot of pattern welded billets. You'll get that.
Yeah. Like I said, there isn't a whole lot realistic about how that whole thing is.
No.
But I'll tell you, the sparks that were flying, it lit the spark that I just kind of said, okay, let's get the fire stoked.
Yeah, that's always what, like I would see that in movies, and it was the same thing. It's like, wow, I really want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's not realistic at all, but that's still more believable now compared to, I hate bringing it up, but that scene in Lord of the Rings, it always comes to my mind.
Oh my God.
This is probably like the 4th video where we've referenced it.
Oh, that's one of those scenes, you look at and you're like, they spent so many millions of dollars on the budget of this film. Why couldn't you at least consult a blacksmith and say, hey, what do we need to do here?
Yeah. Exactly.
That hurt really bad, by the way, when I finally got around to watching Lord of the Rings after I started getting into blacksmithing. That just hurt.
That whole scene, I just...
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Moments. But you have to set aside the I guess the movie Nazi frame of mind and just say, okay, it's just a movie. Just
exactly.
Let the story play. It's all good.
But it also works to get people interested though too. So I mean,
it does.
There is that. That's how she got interested.
Mm-hmm.
Was Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
And Fort Vancouver.
And Fort Vancouver here. It's like 12 miles away. We got Fort Vancouver. They have a blacksmithing reenactment.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, that dude was working on a hook when I was like 10. Oh my God, that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, and come to find out, we were selling off a a roll of barbed wire, and this dude comes down from Longview, and turns out he's the dude that does the historical blacksmithing recreations at Fort Vancouver.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool.
It's
cool thing to happen.
World, the community in general. It's a vast community, but it's small.
Oh yeah.
World.
And it's like I was saying earlier, I need to get more into the local community and see what that's all about. But gotta stop being such a hermit. Gotta stop being such a hermit.
Yeah, I understand that one, and that's I suffer from that affliction myself. I'm very much a hermit. If I didn't have to leave the house during the day to go to work,
I wouldn't.
There is a job, unfortunately. I could disappear for months on end, and nobody would ever know. It'd be fine with me.
If I could, I'd pretty much leave to, post stuff online.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, people online would know I went missing before any local people did.
Mm-hmm. So nowadays, the blacksmithing is seen by a lot of people, and it's tried by some, and very few actually stick with it. That being said, what does blacksmithing mean to you, and what keeps you swinging your hammer?
What keeps me swinging my hammer? Well, I'm a creator. I love making things. I love making things by hand. I love older ways of doing things. I always have. Sorry, I've got a rowdy dog behind me. Decided he wanted to get frisky.
Right, our cats are usually interrupting the show. Usually the one that's in heat.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see one or two of my crazy boneheads here any minute.
Oh no, she had to go crazy when we were doing the Chad Gray thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
what keeps me swinging my hammer? I love doing things by hand. I love the older way of doing things. I guess it's kind of I'm a history nut for one. I love crafting in general, whether it's with wood, with steel. Honestly, it doesn't matter what it is. I know how to make paper. I know how to bind books. I know how to timber frame. Anything that you can do with your hands, I love it. This modern technological throwaway world, I can't stand it.
It's hard to get on that train.
I'm not even near the tracks.
We want to get as far away from those tracks as possible and utilize them sometimes when we need to.
Pretty much get far enough away from civilization that neighbors won't be a problem, but close enough that we can get me to the hospital when I need it.
Because I was born in '91, so that's months before the internet came out.
Mm-hmm.
Just months. I think the internet came out in August '91. So the internet was something we were getting used to as kids. So we were kind of the first generation that was really introduced to it.
Right.
I think it's pretty surprising that we're not because everyone we know is just, they're all into their technology, and I've never been able to get on that train.
Right.
It's just never clicked.
See, I'm even farther removed from that. Like I said, I'm an '80s kid. I was born in the '70s.
Yeah.
So all through the '80s, especially, I grew up in southwestern Montana, rural. Not even in town. We were way out in the sticks. And I'm an only child, so my entertainment was grab the rifle and go hunt gophers or head up the mountains. So
that's the dream right there.
If I could go back to doing that, I would. That's where I'm most at home.
Oh yeah. That is on our list of things to get doing, is getting out of town and just away from people in general. Luckily enough, we don't get any complaints with our blacksmithing because we're in a suburb. and we do it out of our garage.
That could be really trying for a lot of people. I'm glad that you really don't have an issue with that.
No, they don't have any issues with it, but it does help that we have like maybe 10 other families who are doing businesses right out of their home. Like we have a carpenter making a bunch of noise the same time we are, just down the road.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's a noisy neighborhood during the day.
Right.
How'd you come up with Crazy Viking Forge?
Oh, well, it's kind of funny. My heritage, my background, my bloodline, whatever, my family tree. I'm Scottish, Irish, Norwegian, Northern Germanic. Okay. On the Scottish side, yes, I have my kilt, I have my tartan, I wear it. I like the Nordic side, I always have. I kind of generate towards that mindset and that, I don't know, feel of things. So when I was coming up with the idea, it was either a toss-up between the Crazy Scotsman or the Crazy Viking. And, I really didn't need anybody asking me to wear my kilt any more than I already do. So over the hill it went. Crazy Viking it was.
That makes me think a lot of Floki on Vikings. The Crazy Viking, the crazy man.
He's one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, mine too.
Have you seen the last season?
I started watching it. I kind of got out of it. Honestly, I haven't had real TV in well over a decade, so everything is just catching up on Amazon.
Okay, yeah. I won't give anything away, but Floki comes back at the end, and it's just, yeah.
It's amazing. It was amazing. I was so happy. I was like, please be Floki. Please be Floki.
Oh man.
Other than that, I wouldn't want to give anything away. That was a big thing, and like
that to me is right up there with the. It's right up there with the nerd moment. I don't know if you watched The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yes.
The crap
yeah,
out of that.
I've been a Star Wars freak my entire life. I mean, I grew up with the original way back in the day, and with this last episode of the second. Oh, yep, there it is. There it is. Second season finale when all of a sudden Luke shows up, and like, I called it. It was either going to be Luke or Samuel L. Jackson was going to jump.
Yep.
My money was on Sam Jackson. I still kind of wish it was Sam Jackson, just because he would have been the perfect age right now to come back on The Mandalorian, and it would have been perfect.
I know it, and it was a toss-up for me at that point.
Yep.
But like, okay, it's one or the other. What are we going to call? And as soon as I saw that X-wing coming in, I'm like, oh!
Yep, Luke Skywalker. Oh, that would have been great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, I fangirled so hard. I haven't fangirled that hard in a very long time. Dude, even bands don't get that.
No.
Okay, so this one?
Yep.
Okay. With COVID and the lockdowns, one thing I've noticed is an influx of newcomers to blacksmithing groups. I think it's safe to say the craft is expanding. With that in mind, what advice would you give to someone wanting to start blacksmithing?
What advice? Oh, God. That opens up a whole...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, that opens up a huge topic. Well, first of all, what do you want to accomplish with it? That would be my first question. Is this a hobby? Is this just, a passing interest? Is this something that you want to make money at? Address that first. What do you want to accomplish with it? If it's something that's going to be a hobby, it was a hobby for me for, 30 years. I didn't actually start taking it seriously. I started hammering steel in the 80s, and I didn't really even start taking it seriously until maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I'd done a ton of stuff, just it was nothing more than a hobby. So
Mm.
if it's a hobby, great, go after it. But look at it at the perspective. What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, look at it as a hobby.
Yep.
If it's a hobby.
And then, start off. But just like anything else, you have to start off with the basics. You have to start off with the fundamentals. If you want to make knives, great. But it's just like anything else. You have to learn the fundamentals of what you're doing.
Yep.
It's not just all of a sudden gung-ho, let's throw some money at this, and I'm going to be a pro in 6 months.
Right?
Right. Yeah. No.
There is no profession, there is no skill set, there is no YouTube videos that is going to provide you with, mastery in 6 months.
No.
I think that's one of the biggest things that people make the mistake of is, they've got this wild idea and they're ready to run marathons and they haven't even learned how to crawl yet.
Yeah.
So I guess my advice on that end would be understand this is going to take time. This is going to take practice. This is going to take a ton of failure. I can tell you a million ways to burn a bar of steel.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of patience.
Oh, yes. Patience is a huge factor. I can tell you a million ways to screw something up. I can tell you a million ways to crack a blade. You do it again, and you move on. And you learn from it and you go with it. And at some point, you're going to get to a point where you can actually start doing something with it.
Yeah. And that's something I especially had to learn because I'm the kind of person who will go and dip my toe into the pool, and if I'm comfortable with how it feels, I'll go right over to the deep end and jump in.
Sometimes that's not a bad approach as long as you don't mind gurgling bubbles for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And but like I'll jump in the deep end and like gurgle bubbles for a while and kind of make my way to the shallow end until I can freaking stand up.
Right. Yep. I guess using kind of that same analogy, one of the biggest things because I've had a lot of people over the years come to me and say, can you teach me? Yeah, great. Sure.
Can you learn?
Let's do this. Yeah, exactly. Can you learn? One of the first questions that I ask somebody that wants to start doing this is, what are you trying to get out of it? What do you want to do? And one of the first questions that I always get in response to that is, when can we start Damascus?
Oh my good lord. Oh my good lord. Ow.
In 2 years.
Oh, yeah, about 2 years.
When you're done talking that crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's going to take a while to get out of your system.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's definitely one of those things that you have to get out of your system right at the start. There's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of things that you have to learn. There's getting back to the basics. You cannot just pick up a forge, grab an anvil, and next thing you know, you're kicking out, a Japanese sword or whatever.
Yeah, no.
Okay, we're gonna make a bottle opener.
Yep. Gonna make a leaf. Something.
We're gonna make a leaf. We're gonna do some basic stuff. And I've had those people that they come in and they're like, all right, what are we gonna do? I'm like, all right, we're gonna make a bottle opener. They're like, yes, cool, that sounds like fun. And then 3 or 4 hours later, they realize, okay, well, we have learned how to draw material. We've learned how to taper material. We've learned how to scroll material. We've learned how to chisel cut. We've learned how to drift. We've learned how to twist. We've learned how to punch. There's all of these basic fundamentals wrapped up into this stupid little basic bottle opener. They're like, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm like, yeah, this is a bottle opener. Now you really want to get into Damascus right now? No.
No. No, I still fail at that. I have yet to successfully really get anything to weld other than really tiny bits of cable. But
I do it. I can do it. I don't have a power hammer. I don't have a press. Everything's by hand, and it's a lot of work. And
It is.
it's a lot of attention to very specific details. Preferably, when I'm doing it by hand, I'm doing it on a coal forge, which I don't even have right now. Everything I'm doing right now is on a gas forge. And there's so much time invested into the simplest of a basic Damascus pattern, and honestly, I just don't have the time for it.
No, very time consuming, and it's a lot of lost steel too.
Oh yes, the amount of waste behind a really nice Damascus pattern, I mean, it's insane. A lot of my solid billet forging, this is getting back into another aspect. I hate grinding. Hate grinding. So I learned a long time ago to forge as close to finish as possible.
Yep.
So that I don't have to mess with all of the grinding and the hours and hours and hours of monotonous hand sanding. And you can't do that with Damascus. If you're going to develop a nice pattern in Damascus, there's a lot of material removal there.
A lot of stock removal
lost in the process. Oh yeah. And so yeah, that's another thing that I play with is I have to switch the mindset in order to do Damascus. It's like, okay, I can't forge this to finish because I'm going to mess it all up.
And another thing with it, like people want to get into it, like it's very time consuming and labor intensive. If you're just starting out, you're never going to sell a Damascus knife, even if you finish it.
Right.
Because the amount of money that you're going to have to sell it for and the, I guess, notoriety behind the name that they don't have.
Right.
It's going to be sitting on a shelf for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that right there is a huge factor. If somebody wants to get into the aspect of making knives as a living, okay, there are so many different aspects there.
Oh yeah,
and just the time factor. Let's not even talk about the material factor and just the cost involved, but just the time factor of making Damascus. There's a huge amount of time there, and somebody just starting out, there's no way they're going to be able to produce in a competitive market a quality that they can get any kind of a working wage out of. It's just not feasible. It's something that you have to be able to do something very well, very repetitive, very quickly in order to make it worth your time to even try it. And you cannot do that as a beginner. It cannot be done as a beginner.
No, and I think if the way I figured it out, and I still haven't done it because it's still a lot of labor to do, is just stock removal until you can make enough money to be able to get to the point where you can produce pattern welded material very quickly. And it's still going to cost a lot, and you're still not going to have the name to sell it.
Right. And yeah, that's actually a good thing to bring up is the name, the notoriety, the reputation, and that well, I mean, let's be honest. You have to look at what you're competing against. If you're getting into that, you're competing against a lot of very known knife makers.
Yep.
On top of that, you're competing with a very, I don't want to say illiterate, but uneducated market as far as what Damascus is and the quality and the time and the work and everything else. and you stack onto that a lot of the cheap import stuff.
Yep.
That's on the dollar.
Damascus.
Yeah, exactly. When you got stuff, it was probably a Volkswagen bumper last week, and this week it's a Viking axe.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all bumpers and lawnmower blades stacked together.
Yeah, exactly. And when they're selling theirs for $70, and it looks really cool, and everybody goes crazy over it. And, it's
you go to chop something and it goes ping.
Yeah. A good friend of mine, he tries to humor as much as he can, and one of you guys was trying to sell him one of these blades, and he's like, okay, well, I kind of do this for a living, but I'm kind of curious, I want to see what you can do. And the guy offered to send him a blade unfinished so he could check it out. And so he put it in the forge. Well, first he checked it, file tested it and checked it and everything. And oh my God, it was the softest mild steel. It was ridiculous. And so obviously it wasn't hardened, it wasn't heat treated, and he put it in the forge, and the thing, it just twisted like a corkscrew. Like, oh yeah, this is quality work here.
Oh wow.
My goodness.
He's like, no thanks, sorry, bye.
Oh, that's terrible.
We see him popping up on our groups all the time, and I hate to be almost rude about it, but I'm blunt. And I have no problem calling them out. I'll see. In fact, I've got several different groups, and I've seen the exact same photos of the exact same axe posted in every group for about the last 6 months by about 10 different Middle Eastern sellers. All made this beautiful axe. And I'm like, let's see some pictures of you forging it.
Right? Yeah.
I want to see your shop. I don't care what the axe looks like. I want to see your shop.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny that they target blacksmiths and bladesmiths to sell their knives to.
Oh, I know it. That cracks me up. It's like, guys, we do this.
Yeah.
We have to do this stuff. So, yeah, we're not going to be nice to you about it when we know that you don't do it.
Yep. And it's not going to be made from a bumper either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of the guys that popped up on one of them recently, and I had the same response. I'm like, okay, let's see some pictures of you making it. And he responded back, oh, it's all forged from railroad steel and
from railroad steel.
What the hell is railroad steel? What? I know what steel I make an axe out of.
Yeah.
I know what I'm forging. What is railroad steel to you?
And
I mean, that could be anything.
That could be a clip. That could be the rail. That could be the spike.
That could be a handrail off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It's like I was talking to someone earlier, and I was trying to find out what steel they were using because he couldn't figure out his knife wasn't hardening. And he was just saying he was using normal steel.
Okay, normal steel. Well,
normal steel.
Yeah, that narrows it down.
Yeah.
Would you care to elaborate?
Yeah, and I did ask him to elaborate because, I mean, to me, normal steel is 1018.
Right.
You're going to pick it up at the hardware store all day long.
Right.
And you'll make a leaf out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I told him if that's what he's using.
Hot rolled mild steel is not going to harden. I'm sorry.
Good for bicep cuts, though,
You know,
as long as you
punch
want
that
that
all
shit.
day long, but it ain't gonna harden. Yeah, it gets interesting dealing with people in general, especially the Pakistani fakes. That's always
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh god, we had an actual one of those shops set up in our mall here a while ago.
Oh,
Oh, was that the one across from Unique Imports?
Yeah, it was across from the Unique Import store, which is amazing. But they always had the exact same knives in there
yep.
every day. I don't think they ever sold because they were there for like a month and then they were gone.
Yeah.
Dude, the only good thing they had there was their Zippos, and their selection wasn't as good as other places in the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they just couldn't compete with Excalibur either because Excalibur, they had like really good factory knives and really good actual handmade, locally made knives.
Right.
It was really, really nice.
Yep. Their version of the wall hangers, it's just
Yeah.
And you know the real hard part about it is every once in a while you do encounter somebody that really does know what they're doing. And in fact, it happened the other day. You and I are part of the same group. I'm one of the same groups. I'm sure you can go back and find the post. And I was grilling a guy hardcore about an axe. And sure enough, he came back with videos of his power hammer, of him working it, a big pile of axe blanks, and I could look at the pile of axe blanks unfinished and pick out the axe that he'd posted. I could see it. I could see the shape. I could see the details of it. I'm like, okay, dude, you got me. But it was an axe that had a cross cut out of the center of it, out of the body, and way down in the photos of the different photos that he'd responded to, and I could look in the pile of axe blanks that he'd forged out, and I could see that one specifically. I'm like, okay, all right, you got me. Yeah.
It's probably deep in the group now by now.
Yeah, it probably is. But that's the hard part is every once in a while you do run across somebody there that, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of people there that they have amazing grinder skills. They have amazing crafting skills in general. If they had decent quality of base material, they could produce some amazing stuff. But they don't.
It's like they just don't put the effort into actually learning how to do it properly.
Right. That's part of it. And that makes it even more difficult to the ones that do, and that they're competing with a whole bunch of them, a whole bunch of their peers that really don't do anything. So trying to get out ahead of the market, when there's already a prejudice against them, it's there's a whole lot working against them no matter how they slice it.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it leads to a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and by the same token, when a lot of the junk is coming over here, it makes it tough on the rest of us because they're selling junk for pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
And then people pick up the junk and then realize it's junk, and then it makes it tougher on us that actually put our time and our effort and our knowledge and our skills and everything behind it. I mean, I can tell you exactly every detail behind every blade, behind every axe, behind every hammer. But when somebody's already bought junk 5 times, they're really skeptical and they're really hesitant. So it makes it tough on all of us.
Amazing how just because it's not even a lot of people who sling the Pac Mascus stuff either. It just like it just kind of ruins it for the rest of the smiths out there trying to get into selling knives and stuff.
Yep. Which, getting way back, somebody just trying to get into the business, trying to get into the market, that's something else they have to be aware of. This is not an easy market. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to have something that will define you and make you recognizable.
Yep.
In order to even have a chance.
And that was when we started doing these the interview things. That was just kind of like something I didn't really consider. I was like just kind of wanting to learn and stuff, and I didn't know if people were going to like it, but it seems people are just absolutely loving it so far.
I'm loving it. I love watching every single one of them. I know we were talking before. You know, it's a small community, and
yeah,
you know, we all end up talking to one another in different ways on different forums and different groups, and it's more of an insight to the individual. You know, we can exchange messages on you know, commenting back and forth on a post all day long, and it never sinks into the brain of who you are or who I am. And this brings out more of the personality behind everybody involved.
Yeah,
and that's what I love seeing. You know, seeing some of the different smiths, basically, you know, face to face, as much as we can, and getting to know the person behind what's actually happening. That's where it's fun. I love this idea. It's been great.
That's something I really love hearing too, because that just, you know, stacks on even more reasons to keep it going and keep doing it, you know.
Right.
So that's why I went ahead and got the backdrop, and we've had the camera for a year, but we just started using that, and we've had the laptop. But yeah, I love it. Only had one person have a problem with Odin there.
Well, you know, that's their problem.
Yeah, everyone else kind of corrected them on it before I even, like, I got the notification and went, and checked it later on, and like 3 or 4 people had corrected them on it.
No sense even jumping in.
Yeah, I didn't even jump in.
Perfect.
But it's just ignorance, you know.
Ignorance abounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the most important mistake that you've learned from in your shop?
Too many of them to count, but
yeah. The most important. Well, the one that I keep failing at, but I keep getting reminded at, is safety glasses.
Safety glasses. Me too.
Safety glasses.
I keep getting lucky, but one of these days I'm not going to be so lucky. It's going to get right dead center.
Oh yeah, you know, that little chunk of steel in the eye after 12 hours of sitting there and then having to get drilled out. Yeah, not fun.
No.
Not fun. And I still catch myself regularly. Oh, I just got to do this real quick.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we got lucky time. Where's the safety glasses? And I look around. I got 15 pairs scattered all over the place, and I'll be damned if I grab one of them just to do something real quick.
Let alone find a pair.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We have like 10 or 12 of them scattered around. We can't hardly find a single one of them.
Yep.
She has hers on standby and knows where, and we know where they are all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But mine keep disappearing.
Well, I've burned my eyelid one too many times.
Yeah. And the ones I do find, I absolutely hate.
Yeah. Either they don't fit right, they fog up, they slip down.
That's my problem. The fogging up.
Uh-huh. The worst part of it is, see, I usually wear a hat.
Yep.
And when I'm at work, my day job is I'm a mechanic. And so I've always got my hat on, and I've always got my sunglasses on the brim of my hat. And I've had people ask me so many times, I never see you wear your sunglasses. They're always on your brim. I'm like, yeah, that's a head guard. As goofy as that sounds, as many times as I've turned around and I've got my lift head level and it hits my sunglasses rather than hitting me in the forehead. You'd think I'd put my safety glasses there so I could find them when I need them.
Right.
My job, but I don't.
Nope. It just seems a little too practical.
Right. It makes too much sense.
Yep, it makes too much sense. Can't have everything make sense.
No.
Oh yeah, that would be illogical.
Yeah, that's what we used to always say is like, why are you doing that? It just makes too much sense. Or how did you do that? Fucking magic.
Yeah.
Do you have any like interesting or special plans in the works?
Well, yes and no. I'm actually in the process of ramping up the shop for a little heavier production. It's always been kind of a, well, I say always, and that's not true. Over the last few years, it's developed into more of a, I guess, a retirement plan. You know, I've worked for myself a number of different times.
Oh, yeah.
Never something that I really wanted to do in the long term, but this is one of them that it's always been one of my core passions. And so I kind of turned it into the long-term retirement plan. And the idea is, you know, I'd be able to wake up in the morning and say, what do I feel like making today? And that wasn't supposed to happen for a few more years. And I'm kind of stepping that up now. I'm tired of punching the time clock. I'm tired of standing on concrete underneath somebody's dripping, wet, soggy, rusted out piece of crap. And, you know,
Yeah.
beating myself in the head, you know, trying to fix stuff that should have been dealt with years ago. And I guess it kind of gets back to my hermit mentality too. Of, you know, I don't like dealing with other people's garbage anymore. So let's just get the shop in order and let's just go for it.
Yep.
So, you know,
and it's like if you do it right, it'll be a lot more lucrative to work for yourself too. Because
exactly, you know, it has been in the past doing other things, and you know, if you've got the right mindset and you've got the right approach and you've got the right setup, and the setup is the big thing.
Yep.
You know, there really isn't there isn't a wrong way to do it if you go with the right direction, you know, going into it.
Oh yeah, many ways to skin a cat.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot to be said for the steady income of drawing the paycheck and punching the time clock, but you'll never be happy doing it. You're always making money for somebody else ahead of yourself.
Yep. Exactly. And on top of that, you're going to have taxes, the federal taxes. If you have income tax in your state, there's going to be that. And
oh yeah,
on top of sales and property, and
there's a lot involved. Yeah, you have to know what you're doing to do it right. It will crush you otherwise. Yeah. But
there really is almost no profit to working for somebody else.
No
profit behind it.
You can, if you're lucky, you'll break even.
Yeah, if you're lucky. And that's kind of where we're at. Like, I've absolutely kind of, except for in the case of our truck, because we absolutely needed the truck, and then I got the entire mill got laid off. But now we're getting some help from family with that. But we've been pretty much breaking even. I have had $400 of debt on a credit card, and I cut up the credit card after that. And
yeah,
but for 29, not doing so bad. We're pretty much breaking even.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest things that I think cripples a lot of people, just in general, is debt.
Yeah.
People go into debt and there's really no digging out.
No, that's why I never went to college too.
Yeah. Yep.
Because in high school, they're like, you got to go to college to do this. You got to go to college to do that. And
No, you don't.
no, you don't. I'm sorry, but the garbage man makes more than you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Oh my God, I didn't pay attention in school. There was no way I was paying attention in college.
Yeah.
School was so boring.
Well,
My attention span so short.
Totally not my structure.
no, and here's what I found, because I went to college I was about 27 when I went to college. So I was what was considered a non-traditional student.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd think by then you'd have a pretty good head about you and what you wanted to do and how you wanted to go about it. And I kind of did, but I didn't, because I was double majoring engineering and geology. Great field, both of them. Great potential, and I had a lot of interest in it. The problem was I had a lot of interest in other things. So half of my classes had nothing to do with either of my majors. And I spent a ton of money having a great time learning some really cool stuff that I really couldn't do a thing with. And it took a lot to pay off all of that debt.
Oh, yeah. That was another thing how I knew college wasn't for me, is because there was just like maybe one thing there I wanted to do, like welding, but I had to take 6 other classes that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even learn about trade schools until maybe 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. If I ever hit the lottery, I'd probably become a professional student, just because I had a great time taking all of the classes that had nothing to do with anything that I could do anything with, other than just learning and enjoying.
Yeah.
The problem is we've got a whole bunch of people doing exactly that, thinking they're going to get something out of it.
And they're usually picking degrees that they're not going to be able to do anything with other than to teach other people to get that degree.
Yeah. So we have a massive amount of debt that they can't possibly dig out of. So, yeah.
My God, that sounds like a nightmare.
It is for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people are begging for debt forgiveness and stuff. But a lot of those same people were never taught to learn from their mistakes.
Yeah. Or be accountable for them.
Or be accountable for them. Exactly. Or have the forethought to try not to make those mistakes.
Right. Let's look at this for a minute. What can I get out of this? Is this a mistake? Ah, hell. Let's go for it anyway.
Okay, so that's pretty much all of our written questions
All right.
that we've had. I was trying to come up with a bunch more kind of like fun ones or something. Trying to come up with a game or something that we can do on interviews or whatever, but I couldn't quite think of anything.
I remember one of the fun questions.
What was that?
Does pineapple go on pizza?
Oh yeah, does pineapple go on pizza? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
You beautiful soul.
Yeah. If my daughter was here with me now, she would be clapping and cheering. Because I can't have a pizza in this house that doesn't have
pineapple
on it.
It's good. It's good. I like pineapple on pizza. I don't know what people's problem with it is. They say you don't put fruit on pizza, but I guess that means you can't put tomato on pizza too, because that's a fruit.
There we go.
Don't tell me what I can and can't put on my pizza. Go eat a rock.
Hey, I'm an anchovy freak. Let's go with it.
Oh, can't do way too salty.
But it opens the precedence that anything else can go on there too.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. It really does.
Just no jalapenos. I don't do jalapenos.
I can put those on almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
Mister, I have an entire shelf in the fridge Like half a shelf that's just hot sauce.
Yeah.
One of the fridge door shelves is just hot
It's
sauce.
just hot sauce of like maybe 30 or 40 bottles of hot sauce, all different kinds.
And I just got him 17 more.
Oh, good Lord. See, I just don't do hot. Spicy hot. If I eat, and don't get me wrong, I love the bacon wrapped stuffed jalapeno poppers. I love them. But if I eat one, I might as well eat 20 because the heartburn is going to be there for 2 days no matter what.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I have slowed down because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Get close to the 30 and all those health things start popping up.
Oh God. See, in my mind's eye, I'm still 25. And the body is saying, no, you ain't.
No way, Jose.
Like, you're funny.
Yeah, we were gonna have like a would you rather kind of section in here just for kind of keep it entertaining.
Sounds like
something
fun.
like that. So I remember one of them was would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? I looked them up. I looked up those like would you rather questions on Google because if I can't think of something, I use Google or YouTube.
Well,
that was like the first one that popped up.
Ducks in the past,
they're assholes.
Horse-sized duck would be truly frightening.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with 100 duck-sized horses and give me the golf club.
Yeah. Get a chance to practice that swing. Make a lot of glue too.
This is true. We could put some handles on.
Yeah. Thanks for all the epoxy.
Oh, God.
Would you rather survive the vampire apocalypse or the zombie apocalypse?
Forgot about that one.
I think the zombie apocalypse would be a hell of a lot of fun. Just because, well, I've got no shortage of things that go boom and things that go splat. Yeah.
Yeah, because also vampires are like, they're really friggin' sneaky and you can't just kill them with anything.
Oh, well, yeah.
Zombie, they're obnoxious and you'll hear them coming. Plus, you get zombie kill of the week.
Well, not only that, depending on which movie you watch, they're slow as hell. So, man, a golf cart and a machete could be a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, oh yeah. The George A. Romero zombies would be a lot of fun. I think the new Zombieland zombies would be terrifying. And even more terrifying would be the Z Nation zombies.
Oh, Z Nation, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, the blasters would give me nightmares.
Yeah, the blasters.
Hey, we can buy flamethrowers still.
Yeah.
Yes.
Buy them, make them.
Considering how often you and I make the joke, kill it with fire.
Yeah.
I literally have a GIF on standby on Facebook of a stormtrooper and a flamethrower is my kill it with fire thing.
Hey, when all else fails, barbecue.
Yes.
So we've been going for about an hour now. Where can people find your work?
Well, I'm on several different groups. As I said, I'm just really starting to ramp the shop up, and actually over the last couple of weeks I've been starting to build the web page. My big problem is everything that I do at this point is already bought and paid for. It's all been commissioned out. So I haven't launched the web page because I really don't have anything to put on it other than pictures of stuff that's already done and sold and gone. The Crazy Viking is my forge name. TheCrazyViking.com if I remember right, I would have to look it up. It's only been a couple of weeks since I even started it. It is there. I just haven't put it out. TheCrazyViking.com, I believe.
Viking.com. Oh. Kids causing trouble. Yep. Is right there.
Oh, yep. There it is. There
Don't
it
know
is.
how well that shows up, but
It shows up as a bright blurb for me, but it is there. TheCrazyViking.com.
yep. CrazyViking.com.
So I've started playing with putting the webpage together. I just don't have anything listed as what's for sale. Like I said, everything that I've been doing for so long is already bought and paid for on commission. So little by little, I'm going to start putting stuff out there that's available, and it just hasn't happened yet.
But pretty much there with stuff to be able to view and under construction at the moment.
Right. I do have a slideshow there of stuff that's already been made and gone. I've got several things here that I don't even have pictures of yet that's getting ready to ship out. But that's where that stands. Little by little, that's going to come together over the next couple of months and actually be a viable way
Baby
of getting
steps.
hold of me. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Just like What About Bob? Baby steps.
Yep, precisely.
All right, so just in the closing, do we have any final thoughts?
No, my brain shorted out.
Yeah, children can do that.
It does happen.
Yeah, it's about the right time for him to be doing that too. It's getting close to dinner.
No, he gets hangry just like his mother.
Yeah, hangry.
Just like mine. Just like me. He gets it honest.
That's one thing I've never suffered from. I'll hit the end of the day and go, wow, did I eat today? I don't remember.
Yep. Usually takes a couple days for the hangry to kick in for me.
Right.
All right, but yeah, thank you for stopping in, and links for people to find your work will be in the description below the video.
All right. Hey, it's been fun. Absolute pleasure to jump on board with this whole project. I've been following all along, and it's just great for me to be able to take part in it. I really like what you're doing, and I can't wait to see it keep moving forward.
I'm sure a lot of the stuff we're doing, a lot of the new stuff, especially the new camera, helps because we're usually had this set up on our little tripod, and it was just that was big reason as to what me wondering if people are actually going to watch it is because of the quality.
Yeah,
but turns out pretty good, and I think this one's gonna really do good.
Well, just like me.
Yep, just baby steps, and really appreciate all that, and you watching and keeping up with the show.
I'm looking forward to it, keeping going.
We had Trenton Ty on. That was just unbelievable. Like
that was fun. I've been with him for years. That is so much fun.
Yeah, and it's. I think it's gonna be a while before we top that one. I'm gonna try to get is Nicholas from Red Troll. He's a Forged and Fire champion.
Yep. Okay.
He's like 12 miles away from me.
Oh, fantastic.
So I got his number in my phone, but I'm gonna get a hold of him one of these days and try to set up an actual face-to-face sit down.
That would be a fun one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because that was originally what this was supposed to be, was in the Forge type deal, and then COVID hit, so I had to come up with a workaround, and I'm pretty sure you suggested something doing just like Skype interviews, because I don't remember that being my idea.
Yeah, that was mine.
But you came up with doing the Skype interviews thing, and it just kind of took off from there, and Finally got rid of the damn sheet.
I've still got mine.
Black's not bad though. It's a suitable thing.
Best I could come up with on short notice.
Before we're using, I need probably saw it in the last one, but yeah, this terrible purple.
It's not that terrible. It just wasn't fitting.
It's terrible for on camera. It looks good if you're looking at it in person.
Yeah. No, it's just not fit. It just wasn't fitting for the interview thing.
No, not fitting at all.
Whatever works. Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. And I found out Jason Knight is almost impossible to get a hold of. Because we were going to do this last week and try to get him on, but...
that's one guy I would love to hang out with. It. He's actually about 5 hours south of me. And
oh, wow.
It cracks me up. Because I've talked with him... I've talked with him a little bit in chat, and it's funny how it came up because, and this is going back to the very beginning of this whole thing, his whole start of how he got into blacksmithing and his whole interest, because, we're about the same age, was because of the movie Conan.
Yeah, I remember him saying that.
Dude, are you kidding me? This is how it happened for me. He's like, oh man, that's awesome. So
I cannot remember specifically what it was for me. I think it was just seeing it in movies in general. Mm-hmm. So it really wasn't something specific. But that is great to have something in common with like that with Jason Knight, Just...
Oh yeah. I look at that guy and I'm like, oh dude. You've got it going on.
Fire started by the same spark.
I'm like, all right. Yep. I like it.
As exciting as that Jason Knight thing would have been, I would have been more awkward with him than I would have been with Chad.
Yeah.
And I was so awkward at that meet and greet thingy. So awkward.
You get used to it though. I mean, you get used to it.
Hey,
more concerts.
I learned a long time ago, it doesn't matter who it is, they put their pants on the same way.
Yeah.
Just
exactly.
the person. Yeah.
I get awkward. It's just like, I watch you and now it's, and I'm awkward and I'm weird and now I can't make it go away. So you have to suffer through it with me.
I think the big shining moment of realization on that whole thing for me, it goes back a long ways, but I ended up sitting down at a table in a packed coffee house, mind you, with Emilio Estevez.
Really?
Oh, that is so cool.
I'm like, just out of the blue, I was like, dude, there's no chairs. Is this chair taken? He's like, no, go ahead. I sat down. I'm like, oh my God. Like, how you doing, bro? Ended up spending 2.5 hours just sitting there shooting the shit. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. Awesome. The first starstruck shock, once that gets gone, once it's out of the way, like, oh, okay, well, this is just another person. Cool, let's get to know him.
Yep.
And it's pretty wild. It's just getting past that first moment of, oh my God.
It's easier in person than it is on camera because they just usually laugh at my reaction because it's usually like they're right there and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's like all the awkward gets out there and then I'm a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a thing of like you're used to seeing this person like all the time on TV and now he's right in front of you and
mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh no, the shock was I listen to these guys every day.
Yeah. I don't that kind of went away for me when my stage fright went away when I was playing in the band.
Yeah, I still warn people that I'm awkward. Stage fright didn't go away. I was just a choir kid. I never had solos, and there were many around me. I did not stick out, and it was beautiful.
Being in the center and everybody's focus on you, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Oh my
always
God.
interesting to get past. Till this day, I don't think I'll ever shake that. There's ways of getting around it. There's a way to cope with it in my head, but you never really get over it. You never
No.
really get used to it.
That's something I've been asked is how can you do a YouTube show and interview a bunch of blacksmiths if you got social anxiety?
It's like, well, it's just like everything else. You suck it up and deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say I really don't have an answer for that because when it comes to doing this, I don't think about being anxious at all. I'll get a little bit just before we start, but then we start and
Here we are.
and here we are.
Again, I warn people I'm awkward, and that generally helps.
Yeah, I think the time just kind of friggin' gets me nervous more than anything because I try to be a little bit more professional than I am.
Well, there's an old Japanese saying that I kind of revert back to: anticipation of death is far worse than death itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The anticipation of the moment that builds up, and it builds up in your head, and you say, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!" There it is.
Comes from
God, yeah.
Yeah, I think that comes from not being able to control the situation and not being comfortable with not knowing something.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well,
that's what it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I can completely relate to that. But not worried about controlling the situation.
Nope.
I just control myself. And there's always going to be something I don't know, so why worry about it?
Exactly. I'm either going to learn or it's going to go right over my head.
Yep. Roll with it.
It's going to go right over my head until it hits me in the head.
That's why I got my sunglasses on my hat usually.
Yeah. So, what would your favorite style of blade to make?
I can't say that I really have a favorite other than I have a serious affinity for axes. I love making axes. I really do.
I have noticed that.
Oh, you
a lot
have? of
axes. Yes.
Oh, that hits me right here. You notice that? Okay. Because I do a lot of blades. I do a lot of different styles of blades, but when it comes to what I really enjoy, it's axes.
There's just something about them.
Well, yeah. I've always loved them anyway, but years and years ago, we're talking way back, I used to fight armored combat with SCA and Adrian Empire for live steel combat.
Mm-hmm.
And the style that I fought in, everybody starts out sword and board, sword and shield. And then you just kind of develop, a great sword or spear or whatever. And I found myself really having fun fighting Florentine axes. I had an axe in each hand. I'm like, oh, I like this. And I really got a feel for it. And I always loved axes ahead of that anyway. And I don't know, I just want to say it's in the blood. So making axes, to me, it reaches something deeper in me than anything else. I've trained with a lot of different weapons in different ways. I started martial arts when I was a little kid. Actually, I started collecting swords and actually learning different sword techniques, as an early teenager. I've fenced, foil and epee and saber and rapier and SCA combat. I've fought just about every different style you could dream of, and I always gravitate to axes. I love axes. So I don't know. Axes are my thing.
kind of have that pull toward kukris. Haven't been able to. Not sure why yet.
I love kukris.
Mm.
And actually, that gets into a whole different area why I love kukris, but I do love kukris.
I don't know. There's a perfect for almost any use.
For one thing, they're brutal.
Oh yeah.
With that. Oh yeah. With that recurve point, that forward edge, man, it's just it's brutal. It's not a slicing motion. It is. I'm going to throw a Volkswagen through this tree. On.
Yeah. It's probably one of the reasons why it was like because of the machete sword version of it.
Yep.
It's probably why that was I believe it was used a lot for executions.
Metal.
Decapitation. Yeah, yep. Beheadings.
Yep.
Again. Metal.
There was in the city that I grew up in, Butte, Montana, there was a store. It actually dates back to almost turn of the century. It was about the 1920s. It opened up, and it was called Whitehead's Cutlery, and I believe it's still open. The original owner, he died in the 90s, but his daughter took over. But aside from selling razors and scissors and tweezers and all of that stuff, he sold knives. And throughout the years, he was a serious collector of original weapons. And that's when I was a kid. That place was the place to hang out. I mean, it was a museum in itself, because he had things hanging on the wall that you just look at and say, "Wow, I can't believe those actually existed." Much less those were actually used. And one of the pieces that he had up there was the full size kukri style beheading sword.
Wow!
It was just like, wow, that is impressive. That is brutal.
Was there blood still on it?
I wish.
I wouldn't be surprised. I never got close enough to find out.
Yeah,
okay, we watched enough murder shows to know blood can get in a variety of places.
I have a dark sense of humor and dark curiosity. A morbid curiosity, not a dark curiosity.
I've had a few of those myself.
Yeah.
Hey, I am right at home with dark humor. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure that place is still open, and yeah, that was just amazing for me. You know, as a kid, especially, you know, being fascinated with knives and swords. Mm-hmm. And, you know, oh God, I can't tell you how much money I spent there from my allowances and everything else. Just it was sickening.
That sounds like what Excalibur was to me when I was a kid, because we didn't really have anything like that, but we had Excalibur at the mall, and I went there a lot. Go look at knives and bought a few of them. And
oh yeah,
fucking brother steals them.
I'll tell you the things.
Mine knows better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just like, you touch my knife, I'll chop your hand off, man. We may be twins, but I will take that hand clean off, dude. Don't touch my stuff.
You're gonna see what that blade can do.
Well, that's just generally a family threat.
Yeah.
It turns out my family kind of just has people going, wow, and it's like, no, this is normal stuff for us.
Right.
Yeah, the way they say stop doing that is I will kill you.
Oh my God, yeah, I scared the crap out of his cousin. Dog's whining at the back door, and I'm just like, shut up or I'll kill you. And he's just like, damn it. I turn around, and then it's like, it occurs to me, people don't always say that. And I'm just like, oh my God, Daddy! I am so my father's daughter.
It's like, well, here's your high-speed education in how things operate in this house.
Yep.
No, I won't actually kill you, but
We're not fucked up, but our sense of humor
I
is.
have no filter. I
Look
don't
out for
know
the
why.
sharp turn. It will be unannounced. It was entertaining. I've been a collector my entire life, a collector and practitioner, and I can't tell you some of the things that I've recovered, well, saved over the years, just on pure stupid chance. One of the blades that it's actually tucked back in the closet that once upon a time I was kind of sort of helping out with maintenance on an apartment complex that I lived in. This was a long time ago, and I went in to work on somebody's apartment, and they're like, "Oh, well, we heard that you had something to do with blades and you like knives and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And she walks over to this plant in the window, this big plant, and pulls this thing out and says, "Here, you might know something about this." And I look at it, my eyes literally popped out of my head. I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me." And it was a Japanese wakizashi.
Oh,
The blade, no handle or anything else, but using it for a plant stand.
Ah!
And
dude,
like,
that's my
"You have
heart.
got to be kidding me."
Oh my
No.
god.
And took it home and started cleaning it down and peeling back the layers of rust and whatnot. And the layer in that steel is just immaculate. Now the bottom 6 inches where it was stuck in the plant, it's got some pitting in it, but you can look at the layering and looking at the signature, and updated it, and it is about 300 years old.
Oh my god.
No.
Ow. Ow.
Oh my god.
It
I
got
take it back.
hurt.
It had the tsuba on it. It didn't have the handle. It had the tsuba, the guard. And the tsuba, actually, I refitted to my personal katana, my personal weapon that I had made for me, because it's a bronze dragon.
Ooh. Do you have that on hand?
I do. Give me 2 seconds and I'll go get it.
Silk.
Yep. So this is my personal blade, but I don't know if you can see that tsuba.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
That's freaking beautiful.
It's a little blurry, but we can make out the details pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's hard to make it out, but that's what was on that wakizashi blade when they gave it to me.
Oh man, that is some fine craftsmanship right there.
And
Yeah, I
that's
would have had such a hard time telling you
roughly
that she-
300 years old, but that's
Oh,
why
she
I had it fitted
Oh,
for my personal weapon.
and it probably came over here after World War II.
It probably did.
Oh man, that hurts to even. That hurts my head.
But I saved it.
Yeah,
Was a couple more years, and it would have probably ended up rusted in half and in a landfill.
Oh.
Oh, that hurt.
Man.
One of the other ones that I don't have anymore, but it is actually in a museum in London. I was at a garage sale and came across a German Nazi First Luftwaffe officer saber.
Oh.
That
was
is
just,
wow.
That'd be really cool to have.
oh my god, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But the sheath, because it was a wooden sheath, leather wrapped, and the old guy that had it, his grandkids decided they were going to play sword fight.
Oh,
Oh.
no. Oh,
Had the
no.
sheath, one had the sword in there, so the sheath itself was just mangled and mutilated.
Yep.
But when I did sell it, I sold it to a collector, private collector, and it ended up in a museum, and it was fully restored, and it's on display. So I don't feel bad about selling it, just being able to recover it and, preserve it for what it was.
Yeah.
Presented,
Yeah.
that to me is a huge, huge deal.
And it's nice they were able
That's
to
an
restore it.
important piece of history. So to have a piece that you can save, that's important. It doesn't matter where it came from. Yes, it came from the bad guys, but don't get rid of the stuff that the bad guys made just because they were the bad guys. It's important.
One of the things that just it's painful to think about. One of the people that I met years ago, actually when I still lived in Montana, he was an old World War II vet, sword collector, winemaker. I do my own wine, mead, and ale, so we had that in common, and that's kind of how we met. And he had a 16th century German hand and a half sword hanging on his wall, among other different swords. And this thing was just dead center. I'm like, wow, where did you find that? He says, well, I brought it back from Germany, and when I die, it's supposed to go back there according to the will. I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna have to tell me the story behind this one.
Yeah.
He says, well, after everything finished up, after the fall, part of what our job was to go around and disarm all of the civilians.
Mm-hmm.
And that meant disarming them of everything. Rifles, pistols, knives, family swords, family armor, everything. And it ended up dumped in the Rhine River. That's what they did. By the truckloads. They would back it up in the port and dump it in the river.
Oh my God.
And this one was supposed to go, and I just said, nah, this one ain't making it onto the truck. So I smuggled it back.
And that was the Americans that did that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
We were there in occupied Germany after the war. Disarming the civilians was part of the protocol, and we're talking
dumping
hundreds and hundreds of years worth of history dumped in the river.
That's what gets me, is the hundreds of years of history in a freaking river.
That's something I did not know.
I didn't
about
know
World War
that
II. No.
either. That is going to.
That's
definitely getting put in the research.
Can understand the hate for the enemy and stuff, but I mean, ship that stuff back to the U.S.
or anything.
Yeah, or anything.
Put that crap in museums. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, but well, this gets into a whole different thing. But that's what happens when politics gets involved with things.
Yeah.
Disarm the civilians. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a crazy crowd running down the alley at us with a broadsword. Sure.
Yeah, no.
If it's a family heirloom that's been in the family for a couple 100 years, pretty good chance we're not going to have to worry about it when we're standing here with Garens and a bar.
They'll drink whatever they'll drink a beer and look at it.
Yeah.
But
so much cringe.
Kind of started to feel like Indiana Jones there. It belongs in a museum.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so bad. History buff in me is just cringing all over the place.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
The stuff we've done. Well, yeah, the stuff the government has done.
Yeah. Well, that's just like all of the pictures that we've seen from different places like Australia and the UK, after they disarm, and there's just mountains and mountains of rifles. And, you can look at it and, being a firearms nut that I am, I can pick out individual rifles. I'm like, oh my God, I know what that is. And they're just, bending
like,
the
"Here's
barrels
50
over,
bucks."
melting them down, and running over them with, tractors. And
Yep. I remember seeing those pictures. It's painful.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And then when the government has tried that here, you have people going to Lowe's and making their own little their own boomsticks, and be like, here's my gun, and they get
a little
$50 a pop for them.
3/4 inch black pipe slam fire 12 gauge. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, don't know anything about those.
I heard about people doing that. They'd make like 3 of them, and they go and get their like $300 worth of it was like Visa gift cards, and they go use that to go buy a gun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because it's $15 worth of parts at the hardware store, but it's $100 buyback. I'm like, oh, that's pretty simple.
Right.
For 15 minutes worth in the hardware store and 20 minutes worth of work. All right, let's do it.
Yep. American ingenuity right there.
Yeah.
It's either American ingenuity or us being smart asses.
I'd say a little bit of both.
A little both, yeah.
Yep. I am on board.
Oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah. All right, we should probably get wrapped up.
Yeah, probably should. All right.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming in and making this episode possible.
It was, like I said, it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. I'm enjoying every part of it, watching it, and, well, now jumping on board with the process. So. And
it's just amazing watching it grow. It's like it's already something I didn't think it was going to be. And
flower.
I think it's starting to gain a momentum of its own, which is really cool to see.
Because they're getting more views, and I know the last one it was because it was Trenton Ty's name on it, but that got up to like 600 views really quick.
Yeah, and it's going to get more, and
it's going to get more.
Yeah.
So,
well,
really excited to see how it goes.
To kick off 2021.
Yep. Here's a 2021.
All right. Well, here's to it.
Yep. Thank you for stopping in, man. You have a good one.
All right, you too. Good night.